Get rabies! Get off of me!
Hey, all through the drive, Dad talked about how cool our new room is. Let's go check it out.
It's gonna be great!
Pixar's 2015 Inside Out is undoubtedly one of the best movies this studio has ever brought us. A psychological masterpiece that takes a deep dive into the complex mechanisms behind human emotions and the difficult process of growing up and facing the unwanted changes of life. Come with us as we revisit these profound places of our minds and discover together all the secrets you missed in Inside Out.
What's happening?
No, they turned it on.
Never seen this before. My face!
It's true that Inside Out deals mainly with emotions and right away to manage them. But if we're paying attention, we know that the memories are just a big important part of the plot and the core component in people's minds. As a matter of fact, we see that Riley has these 5 core memories built around the most formative and impactful moments in her life so far, and that these core memories determine her overall behavior and her way to interact with the world. This is specifically proven when she loses them and simply shuts off in the real world, no longer being able to relate to anyone or anything. She no longer has a solid foundation for her personality. The movie also goes to the trouble of explaining the mechanism by which short-term memories become long-term memories with the associated capacity of evoking specific emotions. In the beginning, each memory is locked into a specific emotion, but as emotional complex ensues, we understand that emotions evoked by each memory depend a lot on the current state of mind of the person, and that's the kind of complexity a child is not prepared for. It's understandable to see Riley completely losing it on her way to learn this. The movie intertwines all these different considerations about memories and emotions in a beautiful way that helps us understand how each and every emotion and memory are valuable in their own way. Without remembering moments of sadness, for example, we wouldn't have a comparative basis to recognize, understand, and appreciate happiness.
Spitting out the car window!
Definitely not when Dad was singing.
Wearing a seatbelt!
Oh, what about the time with the dinosaur?
Even though we begin the movie practically biased and inclined towards agreeing with Joy, because everyone wants to feel joy all the time, right? We realize along the way that Joy's simplicity and positive attitude is not always the answer for every situation. And just as Riley and Joy, we need to find a different way of coping with anxiety and unwanted situations in our life. So as Riley's thoughts and feelings get darker and darker, we begin to understand, along with Joy, that even if we think we want to be happy and joyful all the time, in order to achieve and maintain healthy relationships in our lives, we need to embrace sadness as a driving force that can lead both Riley and us, the audience, towards positive change. One key scene in the movie where we start to realize this is the one where both Joy and Sadness need to convince Bing Bong to take them to the train station. We see how Joy's constant attempts at laughter and cheerfulness become complete obnoxious when facing Bing Bong's sad feelings. It's only Sadness who's validating his emotions establishes a true approximation that allows both an acceptance of Bing Bong's actual feelings and an improvement of the situation. The genius thing about this movie is the way they integrate this complex and counterintuitive concept in a kids movie in a way that teaches them the valuable lessons of allowing and validating all the emotions they might encounter in order to master them and understand them instead of suppressing them.
Phone. Ooh, Riley loves dogs. Put this on.
I don't think that'll work.
Bing Bong?
Yeah?
Don't let anything happen to these.
Got it.
There's a lot you might have missed out about. The shortcut and "we can't blame you." This has to be the most creative and perhaps the most confusing scene in the whole movie. Weird things happen within the abstract thought room, but they are not all at random. In fact, this clever scene is one of the many ways in which the movie translates complex psychology concepts and terminology into easily digestible images to help us comprehend the depths of the human mind. Gladly, Sadness reads the manual and is here to tell us the name of every phrase in the process, so we are not as lost as Joy and Bing Bong are when the abstract thought is turned on. So let's take a quick look at each of these 4 concepts to understand what the movie is trying to tell us. First stage is called the non-objective fragmentation, and it works by decomposing objects into the most basic and fundamental views of their parts to help us divide big, complex problems into easily manageable bits. Then we hit the deconstruction dissection stage, which takes apart all these bits and examines them one by one. That's why the characters are disarmed and spread out. We no longer have full bodies, but they're parts and pieces like arms, legs, and heads. The third stage is two-dimensionalization, where characters become simple 2D drawings. By removing a third dimension, all objects are simplified, just as Bing Bong exclaims in peril, "I'm lacking depth." We also understand that other problems and objects also lose depth, making them easier to conceive and represent. And the final stage is non-figurative thinking, where objects are just the most basic characteristics like simple blobs of color that represent something that was once complex but got reduced to its most basic expression. Did you understand the scene and all its secrets when you watched it for the first time?
We're two-dimensional. That's stage 3.
We're getting nowhere!
Depth! I'm lacking depth!
Come on!
We're sure you haven't thought of this one yet, but believe us, there's a lot to think about here. It's pretty obvious that joy is the one emotion in charge of Riley's head, at least in the beginning of the movie and before all the disasters we witnessed, of course. But that's not the case for everybody. We get to see inside of Riley's parents, and things work very different in there. So different, in fact, that we could worry a bit about their mental well-being. In Mom's head, sadness is the one in charge, and in Dad's head, anger is the one running the show. Is Pixar making some kind of statement about the traditional state of couples in a marriage, or is this a more person-specific situation? We don't have too much information regarding these two, but we definitely have some clues. Does the fact that Mom always disassociating and remembering the sexy Brazilian helicopter pilot from her youth tell us that she isn't happy in her relationship with Dad? Moreover, sadness is in charge in her full-time mind, and this can't be good for her. On the other hand, Dad is emotionally and conversationally absent, too busy in his own head to really listen to Riley and his wife's problems. As anger is in charge, he can only react with anger instead of involving in a deeper way. This is a bit darker than you expect for a Pixar family environment, right? Are Riley's parents okay? Is their marriage okay? Or is this a way for the movie to tell us about a dysfunctional relationship between a depressed woman with repressed desires and an absent-minded father that works only in a superficial level? All of this leaves us wanting more and rooting for an eventual sequel where Pixar deals with the adult mind.
So, Riley, how was school?
Gotta be kidding me!
For this, we gave up that Brazilian helicopter pilot?
What if we told you that Joy is the secret villain of the movie? Well, kinda. It's not that she's evil in a classical way. Instead, we can say her actions and manic personality are bad for Riley in the long run, and this makes it a type of antagonist for this movie's plot. Joy has a clear objective: to control Riley's mind at all time, maybe stepping back from time to time to let other emotions manifest here and there, but essentially establishing a dictatorship of happiness that tries to exclude every other negative emotion. And as we saw here before, suppressing emotions isn't good for Riley or anyone else. Joy's excessive control of Riley's mind hasn't allowed her to develop a wider range of emotions or even tools to deal with them. So, when Joy is not in charge, or when other kinds of emotions aren't allowed to surface, Riley doesn't know how to manage what she feels and becomes incapable of dealing with life. Joy and Riley, by extension, lack perspective, and that's totally Joy's fault. Joy constantly minimizes sadness and prevents him from expressing because she thinks she's protecting Riley that way. But in reality, all she's doing is preventing Riley's psychological development. So in a way, if Joy is the movie's secret villain, we have to conclude that sadness is its secret hero. Did you pay attention to all these secret details? What did you think about Inside Out when you watched it? We recommend an immediate rewatch, so you can let us know your thoughts in the comment section down below. And of course, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn those notifications on so you don't miss a single video. See you next time.
Oh, without you, I won't ever be happy. We can't have that. We gotta get you back. I'll tell you what, follow me.
Oh, thank you.